You're playing the 49ers. I got 4 questions for you. Our first question, your favorite memory of that game?
Favorite memory of the game itself, and it shouldn't be, because it's not a happy memory. It was when Tim Crumrye went down. You know, he was a guy that Eric and I really admired a lot as a teammate. I thought he was the heart and soul of our defense. And when this guy breaks his leg and gets carted off, but doesn't want to really leave the sideline, it really did inspire the rest of us to say, hey, man, even though we're without Timmy, we got to bring it. We got to bring it home for him because this guy gave everything he had to the game.
I think my favorite part was Stanford Jennings' kickoff return. Because I think that after that happened, I really believed that we were sort of sitting on the doorstep of winning. And it gave us some momentum, I think, defensively, but we just couldn't finish. We couldn't make those plays toward the end that we needed to on that last drive. Yeah. But I thought that play right there really gave us what we needed. We just didn't finish the deal.
What was the pregame locker room like? Were you guys nervous? Is it tense? Are you guys loose? What was it like?
It was really quiet. I just remember it just being quiet. Yeah. You know, we had an incident like the night before the game. I think most Bengal fans can remember the name of Stanley Wilson, who was a favorite teammate of all of ours. Yeah. And the night before the game, there was an incident. He went running out the hotel, went running off into the Miami night, as we would call it. But I remember Sam Weiss came into that team meeting that night and said, guys, Stanley's not going to be able to play. And it was sad and unfortunate. And so our hearts and minds were on him. Did it serve as a distraction? Yeah, anytime you're thinking about something other than the game, it's a distraction. I don't care what anybody tells you. So part of us were lamenting the fact that we were worried about him, but we knew we had a job to do. But yeah, we were really locked in, dialed in, and pretty much focused on the task at hand.
I mean, I felt the same way. I think that as we sat there in the locker room, it was quiet, as Solomon said. I remember being almost eerily quiet. And I think that what happened with Stanley the night before had this effect on us that I think everyone was just sort of thinking about that. I think that we learned in our first couple of years is that football teams are very fragile. And what happens if there's a distraction, it can throw off the whole thing. And we found that out. And I think that as we sat there in the locker room, I think everyone was sort of thinking about how would that incident with Stanley play a part in the game. And I think that it didn't give us, it took away a little bit of the emotional energy that we needed.
Mm-hmm. Super Bowl week is always so big. There's so much that goes around it. And it's grown so exponentially from when you guys played. But favorite non-football memory?
It was funny. So remember, we went to the movies when we first got there, right?
Right.
And we went to go see this movie. It was called Mississippi Burning. I don't know why we went to go see that movie, but we did. And so when we came out, there was riots in downtown Miami in a section called Overtown, and you could see buildings burning. I mean, there was a riot in Miami the week of the Super Bowl. And I just remember one of the writers, the reporters came over to me and said, what do you think about this? And I remember just saying something like, you know, hey, I just came out of the movie Mississippi Burning, only to come out and find Miami burning. And we cracked up. So when you talk about something that had nothing to do with the game, but it was still memorable because they were talking about those riots for years afterwards.
I think my favorite memory was just being in the hotel, and you know how these football games are, and the fans are in the hotel, and it was pandemonium. I mean, to see how the Bengal fans were so excited, a lot like they are now. The difference is that now we were sort of expected to go to Super Bowl. We were 12-4, had one of the best records in the league, and we won the AFC outright. So we were expected to go, just win 2 games. But I think that just being in that atmosphere, it was the wildest thing. I loved it. It was hard to get locked into the game after being in that.
And finally, I know it didn't end the way you guys wanted, but how often do you think about that game and the whole experience?
I'm serious. Like, for a long time, it was every day.
Yeah.
Now it's about maybe during the football season, every week. Right. Because at the time, and I think the best advice I could give to players today, to the young players on the Bengals team today, is cherish the moment.
That's right.
Particularly for Eric and I, we were in our second years in the NFL, and we thought getting there seemed so easy. We thought, we'll be back. Yeah. Oh, we're going to do a few of these, right? It's almost like what Joe Burrow said, expect this. This is the norm now. And we never made it back. And so I just know that was really important to me, is just to make sure that I had the best game that I possibly could have. I wanted to sort of visualize every single moment. I know what? I didn't want, whatever happened, I didn't want anyone to be able to say, he was the reason why we didn't win. Because those are historic moments. You don't want to watch on NFL films, number 41 getting beat, giving up the game-winning touchdown. That, you don't want your kids saying, Dad, is that you?
Because they will. They will say that.
So, yeah, that's my biggest memory about that game. I think about it all the time, though. But most of my memories are fond up until the final 40 seconds or so.
I think about it often too. Obviously, every year when the Super Bowl comes up, and especially when you see these close Super Bowls, and we think about how close we were. But you do think about it often. I mean, I think about it and I replay some of the plays that we had. The Jerry Rice play across the middle. What could I have done? I was running and David grabbed me around the waist, leg swing around, knocks me down. Ricky Dixon saved the day because he made the tackle. But you think about it a lot. It's the difference between having that big ring or that little ring. And not only that, but I think the legacy of actually just being a Super Bowl champion. You think about how close you were. What was it, 37, 34 seconds, something like that?
Yeah.
That's close. That's close.